This is the Big O Show. 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 This
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Jamming, I wanna jam it with you. Jamming, and I wanna like jamming too. Yo, this is Steve Marley, yo. And on May the 4th, I'll be in Immokalee at the Seminole Casino Hotel with the legendary Inner Circle. See, we see you there. Rastafari love. And I'm jamming with you, jamming, yeah. And I'm jamming to you.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good morning, one and all. Yes, sir. How the hell are you doing? Because you got to be doing great right now if you're a Panthers fan. Feeling it. You're roaring like a Panther. It's a beautiful thing. Lions aren't the only ones. Panthers are roaring too, baby. Love it. Man, that torch was passed last night, huh? This is a moment we all were waiting for. At least those of us that give a shit about hockey, of course. Those of you that don't, screw you. I don't care. Anyway, so it's been awesome. This is something, and I'm so happy for Viola and Sifu because it takes great ownership. It takes commitment. And I want you to remember that commitment word, because when you have conviction, when you're committed, and when you believe in what you're doing, you stay with it, you fight through the adversity, and you come out on top. Remember that. So that's what Viola and Sifu did from the get-go. They took over this team. They brought stability. They spent money. They kept their stars. They traded for stars. They made the toughest decisions that had to be made, whether it's firing your GM or coaches or whatever it is that you had to do, or trade good players, very good players, for franchise players. The Bob thing did not work out early on. And it's working out beautifully now, right? This is exactly, if it ends with a cup, then that's exactly what you wanted, you know? And I'm not saying it is, because we've got Boston or Toronto next. We're all pulling for Toronto tonight. Boston is up 3-1. So please watch the game tonight. And if you can visit a little old lady in Hialeah with the little Santeria, how much is that doggy in the window? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, so if you can, then do whatever it takes to help the Toronto Maple Leafs win today. Okay? Whatever it takes. We need that series to get extended. That way the Panthers can sit back and relax and let Boston get beat up a little bit more. But that was beautiful yesterday. Barkov getting the insurance goal at 3-1. And then to win that game 6-1 and just to, shut down that series. Torch passed. Verhaeghe, Barkov, each with 2 goals. Tkachuk with a couple of assists. Bob had 31 saves. It was one of those It was a long time coming type of moments. And by the way, they have gotten nowhere yet. It's only the first round of the playoffs. But this first round, it's not the first round, it's the opponent. And you first, in order for you to win the Stanley Cup, you first have to be the best team in the state. Because the team in the state has won the Stanley Cup. And they're the marquee team in the NHL. They're one of a couple. And in order for you to become that, you need to be better than them. And that's exactly what's been developing. And to fight through the adversity of losing the last two series against them. And you just kind of knew this year that, I don't know, bro. I think the torch is passed. I think we're seeing a better team with the Panthers and the Lightning this year. You kind of were saying that all season. And it came to fruition last night. And that was just, man, it was awesome. It was awesome, dude. That was so cool. I'm so happy for them. Now, it's one of those where you can't let your guard down while you accomplish an incredible feat, which is putting Tampa Bay in your rearview mirror. You got a lot of hockey left to get to the Stanley Cup. You got 12 more wins to get that cup. So there's a long way to go. I hope there isn't any kind of an emotional letdown because this has been such a tough mountain to climb. I don't believe so. This team is loaded. It's got all kinds of stars, and this isn't manufactured. This is real. This is real. The Panthers are the best franchise in town. They are the best team in town. Okay, we know that the Heat is the best franchise in the last quarter century. That's not even up for debate or a conversation or anything whatsoever. But the last 2 years, you know how the torch has been passed last night from Tampa to Florida now in the state of Florida? The torch has been passed or officially the last 2 years from the Miami Heat to the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are run much better than the Miami Heat. They're a better franchise than the Miami Heat. And they're a better team than the Miami Heat. And they're real, not fluky, like the Miami Heat has become lately. So they really live on a great coach, pretty much, in one star. Star's no longer even a star anymore. He's just broken down now. So the changing of the guard is happening in many different ways. Okay? It happened between Tampa and Florida. And it happened between the Heat and the Panthers. The best team in South Florida lives in Sunrise. Okay? No longer does it live on Biscayne Boulevard. They're number 2 and falling because Inter Miami is the one that's working on number 2 because Inter Miami has a way better chance of winning a title than the Miami Heat do. So the Miami Heat are going from 1 to 2 and slipping to 3. So they need to pick it up a little bit there. That's what I would say. But congratulations to the Panthers. They have earned it. They are doing it. They are contributing back to our city with what they've built over at War Memorial. So they are reinvesting in our town. Which is just absolutely amazing. So mad props to the Florida Panthers and to their ownership. Okay. And as I've said many times, we have a sorry-ass baseball team with a sorry-ass owner. And they suck because they're not willing to make any commitments. So, congratulations to the Panthers. That is awesome. Awesome. Now we await Boston and Toronto. We'll see what happens there. What do we got here? I see DF is in the house. Number 1, Ariel Saravia. Let's go Panthers. We're going to take the Stanley Cup to Sunrise. I hope so, man. Steve Chapman in, Steven Gonzalez. How about those Panthers? I'm glad they returned the favor, getting beat 6-3, came back 6-1. Yep, I'm with you there. Jamie Zorria out in San Jose, reminding everybody to smash the like button and hopes that everybody has a good week. Jay Gelfin is in the house. Looking forward to Lord Stanley's Cup coming to South Florida, he says. Kyle Cockrell, Joseph. Count on the Cats. Great closeout. Yes, it was. Jeremy, good morning. Big O, it's time for the Heat to get ready for the 2024 offseason by any means necessary. Who are the players that are likely that won't be back for the team? We'll have plenty of time to get into that. There's no reason to talk about that right now. And Jeremy, here's what I'll tell you about the offseason for the Miami Heat. Stop it already. That's what I'll tell you about the Miami Heat off seasons from now on. Stop it already. Stop building me up for off seasons that don't happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be realistic. They ain't got shit to trade. So go ahead and be delusional all you want. They're not getting a star. No stars coming here to carry Jimmy Butler's sorry ass for an entire regular season. Are we clear on that? Are we clear on that? Are we crystal clear on that? No superstar is coming here to South Florida to play with Jimmy Butler. None. Nada. Nay. And they have nothing to trade. So please with the Heat offseason already. It's always the same shit lately. They talk a lot, but because they've mismanaged everything in the last 10 years, they have nothing to trade. And everybody can offer better deals. So what the Heat need to do is what I've said. They need to shut the hell up. They need to kind of reset over the next 2 years. Don't re-sign Butler. Deal with whatever you have to deal with. Get rid of him in 2 years. Keep your picks. Stop trading picks. Get fluid. Clean up cap space. And just get by and develop players for the next 2 years. You're not going to be very good, but it doesn't matter. You need to reset completely. You keep putting Band-Aids and you keep putting lipstick on a pig, and then you keep asking Eric Spoelstra to create miracles out of nothing whatsoever. And enough already. Look, here's what happened with the Heat. Are you ready? Anybody that tells you anything different is either being a homer or really they don't want to really, I don't know, they can't see what's going on. The Celtics kicked Miami's ass in the first half of the first game. Go watch it. They trashed them. They said, this team ain't shit. They can't hang with us. And in the second half, they got bored and let them in a little bit. And then they were bored in the second game. And before they knew it, they were in a hole that they couldn't get out of because the Heat came out firing and they hit everything, which happens to every NBA team, even sorry ones, once or twice a season. Okay, so they shot lights out and they got lucky and won game 2. It's over. Celtics woke up and said, you see what happened? Coach probably reminded him, look, it started in game 1. You guys didn't take the second half serious. Brown, Tatum, you killed them in the first half and then you coasted. And they made even a little run. Not that they threatened us in the first game, but you allowed them to actually have some life. And then in the second game, you didn't take them serious, and then that's it. Third game, they took them serious and kicked their ass. And then they came out yesterday and kicked their ass again. And they'll kick their ass again tomorrow. But I get it, dude. We have to do things with shtick now. And so you'll have your radio and your podcast host, and then they'll try to build something up. That's not even there. Because there's a certain section of you that can't handle the truth. The Heat has struggled to score all season long. So what's the shocker now? They're missing Jimmy. They're missing Rozier. They're missing guys. Even with them, they would lose this series. Even with a healthy Jimmy Butler, they would lose this series. Maybe not 4-1 like they're going to lose tomorrow, but they would lose this series. But you go ahead and lie to yourself. You've milked this as much as it can possibly be milked. Okay? So you got to let it go already. The reality is this team is not very good. That's all it is. And they have no business being on the court with the Celtics. And I know the Celtics aren't mentally the toughest team in the world and all of that, but the Heat has no firepower. And game 2 was just a game that just the sun shines on every dog's ass every once in a while. And it shined right on the Heat for that moment. And after that, it's over. It's over. That's it. You know? But if you want to spin it however you want to spin it, go ahead and lie to yourselves and all that stuff. Okay? Sean, let's give the Panthers what they deserve. A victory cigar. That is beautiful. Big O, Eric Nordstrom says, just bought $500 of Bitcoin on the dip. You're a freaking stud. Let me address that really quick. Bitcoin right now is on a beautiful dip. I think it's at 61,000 right now. It's funny because I keep saying actually 60,657. Okay. You have 7 straight green months. So this looks like it's going to be the first red month, which is kind of about time that it's happened. Remember I told you about the Hong Kong ETF starting. And remember I told you that they aren't as powerful as the U.S. ones. So yesterday they opened up, or overnight, because it's nighttime there, daytime here now. They had 112 million of flow in the first day. It's not much. U.S. had 4.6 billion. 112 million to 4.6 billion. Quite a difference. So the Australian ETFs will kick in, the Japan ETFs will kick in, and don't panic throughout all of this, because this is the same stuff that happened when it was at 16,000 and when it was trying to break 20 and when it was trying to break 24. And we've been in a pattern, a sideways pattern for 2 months. And we've done this in the past. And what it is an accumulation phase. If you're smart, just like, who's the one that just did it right now? And said they just did it. Oh, God, who said they just bought $500 of Bitcoin, you stud? Eric Nordstrom. Eric gets it. You know, this is the buying zone again now. You're at the 59, 60, 61 area, 62 area. This is the buying zone of this dip. You know, and so you got to hang in there because the next bump goes to 90, 95, 100. And you don't want to sell because you panicked and you didn't have patience. And if you're like me and you've been through this bear run for, a couple of years and now it's the beginning of the bull run, it's not the time to panic now. This is the time you stay strong and you buy more. Okay, not a financial advisor, but just like Eric, I did the same thing this morning. So, I am not flustered. I wasn't flustered at 16,000. I wasn't flustered at 25, at 30, at 35, at 40, at 45, at 50, at 55, and I ain't flustered at 60. Okay? No. In fact, I have more conviction than ever. MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor is smarter and richer than I'll ever be in my life. In fact, I'll never be rich. Even when Bitcoin goes to hell, all the way to 1 million, 2 million, it won't make me rich because I won't hold that much Bitcoin. But the people that do have the power, the people that do have the money, the people that do have the intelligence, like a Michael Saylor. He bought 122 Bitcoins yesterday for $7.8 million. So all you got to do is look at the people that are more powerful, more rich, way more rich, because most of us aren't, and hell of a lot more intelligent in investing. And all they're doing is continuing to amass Bitcoin. So, Eric, you're a stud. You get it. And all I'm saying is, I'm not a financial advisor, but stay strong, don't get flustered, and continue to buy. Because in the end, you're the one that's going to be laughing last. So, there you go. All right? And I'm sure the Hong Kong ETFs are going to pick up along the way, and they'll get, and more flow will come in. This might be here the last shakeout. I've been waiting for the last shakeout. This might be the last shakeout, and then we explode and we go to new heights. Adam Pinkser, thank you, sir. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. Is that Alanis Morissette coming to Jacksonville Saturday, September 21st? I love Alanis. That Jagged Little Pill album is one great album. Adam, thank you for the love on Venmo. Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And remember, you can make a Bitcoin donation. Today's a great day to make a Bitcoin donation to the show because there's a sweet-ass dip, man. It says, good morning, O. Been off the grid a bit. I got married and went on a great honeymoon. Congratulations, my brother. Awesome. I also had the Heat and Panthers on the split screen last night. After about a quarter and a half of the Heat, I couldn't take it anymore and put the Panthers on the full screen. Great series win. Yeah, man, listen, dude, the Heat have been fantastic this year considering, your star didn't give a shit about the regular season and set you up for failure. But overall, they got the most that they can get out of them, because when your star doesn't want to try, and that's the shit that's got to end for the Miami Heat. That stuff has got to end for the Miami Heat. They have got to turn that around and get to a point where you're actually giving a shit about what you're doing and representing your fan base the right way. So I'm hoping that the Heat kind of fix this whole Butler issue because you can't keep going like this where you're not trying, Miami Breaker 305, thank you for the love on the super chat. It says, don't forget to hit that like button. Let's go Panthers. That's right. Hit that like button. Hit the notification bell. That way you know when we go live. A-Rod, thank you for the love on the super chat, my brother. Again, Big O, you tell it like it is. You just dropped the mic. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Because really, if you look at it, that's what went on in the Celtics Heat series so far. Celtics kicked Miami's ass in the first half of the first game. They got bored in the second half. Watch it. Tatum and what's it called? White, right? No, not White. What's this guy's name? Brown. They tore it up and then coasted in the second half. And they said, this team ain't shit. And they fell asleep in the second game. And after that, that woke them up. It's over. They figured it out. They go, we can't give these guys any breathing room. We got to crush them right from the get-go. And that's what they've done. It's the truth, unfortunately. Anybody that tells you anything different, they're just dancing around the reality. That's all. The Heat organization is a great organization. It's kind of lost its way lately. And they need to get back on track again. And it's funny because the Jimmy Butler era has been fantastic. but it's also been disastrous to a certain, because you had success, but you destroyed the culture. You can't have the 2 regular seasons you've had under Jimmy. You can't. That's not Heat basketball. So, Frankie says, my boy Barkov with the player of the match. I remember you criticizing Barkov, but I never stopped. How did I criticize Barkov? I said Barkov can't be your number 1 player. He's a goober. I didn't say he wasn't a great player. I said him and Huberdeau were goobers. They're too nice. It's like Bam. Bam challenging his teammates. That was a really cute story by Chris Haynes yesterday. Well, Bam challenged his teammates. Yeah, that's all well and good. He's a super role player. He's not a superstar. The offense doesn't run through him. He doesn't carry you offensively. So how was that message sent? Oh, wow, that really carried, that resonated through the locker room. You know, Barkov is a fantastic player, as I've always said. But what I've always said is he can't be your number 1. You need a Kachuk to be your number 1. You need a Jimmy Butler, who's really a number 2, but on this team, he has to be a number 1. Has to be somebody that has some cojones, that can rattle some cages, that can get people riled up. That was my criticism of Barkov, Frankie. So when you say something, make sure it's accurate. Because I never said Barkov was a bad player. I said he's a top 20 player. What I said is he cannot be the leader of your franchise. And guess what? I stand by that to this day. Because he's a goober. That's why. So he can't be, just like Bam can't be your leader. Bam's a super role player. Barkov is a hell of a player, but he's a quiet star. So he can't be the guy that leads the locker room. He can't be the guy that gets in someone else's face and says, yo, what the hell are you doing? You got to pick it up. So that was my problem with the Huberdeau Barkov situation. And I said, you got to trade one of the 2, and it has to be Huberdeau. Because Barkov is a hell of a player, just not a hell of a leader. There. That was my criticism of Barkov. And by the way, it stands to this day. If Barkov is your number 1 player in your locker room, you will go nowhere. You will go nowhere. But if you don't have a Kachuk, if you don't have a Verhaeghe, if you don't have the guys that play with fire constantly, like we saw first emotion out of Barkov for the first time in his entire career last night. So that was the criticism, Frankie. It had nothing to do with his play. It had to do with his personality. Because he's not that guy. Just like Bam isn't that guy either. I was laughing my ass off last night with the Chris Haynes report. I'm like, yo, Chris, I get it. It's news. But trust me, brother, that ain't going to get anywhere. Bam isn't the leader on a team. He leads by example as a role player, a super role player. He sets that example that he works hard and all that. But the offense doesn't run through Bam. And he's not the face of your franchise. So that was the criticism, my brother. So make sure when you repeat something I say, you can go back. It's all on video. All of it is on video and audio. I know what I said. Did I not say that, Sean? 100 times over. 100 times over. Should be easy to find. I think the word goober was mentioned many times because he's a goober. Miami Breaker, thank you for the love on the super chat. Tipping the bartender who provides the best crypto inside, not a financial advisor. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, if you could sign one street free agent for the Finns, who would it be? I don't know. I don't know who's available. I don't mind. The Odell one, I don't mind, actually. I kind of like the idea of it. You know what I mean? I'm certainly not going to pick a big receiver because that's not what they ever want. And by the way, he won't use them anyways. I think one day when he finds a big, fast receiver, he might use him. So it'll be fun to see what Mike McDaniel does with Jonnu Smith. See if he does use him. David Furones, by the way, is set to join us here at 10:30. Manny Navarro will join us at 11. Big O Kachuk, however you spell his name, facts sponsored. Yes, I agree with you. Big O, the funniest meme yesterday was Jokic dressed as Gru, and the Lakers are the minions. Bam is very clumsy, and no one fears him. Definitely a role player. Heat about to be on vacation with Steph, LeBron, and KD. Yeah, but I mean, it's all right if the Heat are on vacation, dude. They're not that good, you know? Mike No Go Zones, loving the Panthers. Ray says the more delusional Heat fans are, the ones they think the Heat will trade for LeBron. Yeah. Oh, Kala Joe, good morning. I'm loving the dip and just bought 3,500 loading up. Smart, bro. I wish I had 3,500 to invest in Bitcoin. That is a good move, Ocala Joe. That's a great move. Let's see. Big O, I can't sit here and talk shit about the Heat. They've given me amazing run for 5 years. You can't. No, you can't be pissed at. You can't be pissed at the results of what you've got in the last 5 years. Okay? It's really more about the front office and their failures. Spo has maxed out what he can from them. Can't do any more than what Spo's done, dude. It's not Spo's thing. It's just they have mismanaged a lot in the front office. And Spo has done a beautiful job of masking everything and maximizing it. And he can only do so much. You know? So, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to our Welt and Rayom. I know right now Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom, they're loading up on some Bitcoin right now. Because this is a sweet-ass dip for us altcoins. It's been a sweet-ass dip. I know they're loading up right now. But you can visit Welt and Rayom if you have some issues. You need the right lawyers, whether it's bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, personal injury, commercial litigation. They do it all. They're in Hollywood. They got beautiful offices there. 954-966-4646. Tell them that Big O sent you. I promise you they're going to take care of you. And, of course, the consultation's free. 954-966-4646. Let's get to them. David Furones and our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welt and Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Feeling good. Yeah, another week and got through this draft. Tried to get some sleep after that. Reported on a lot of draft picks. Finally, 7 draft picks after a couple of 4-pick drafts the last couple of years. So I actually got to cover a first-round pick this year and then a bunch of undrafted free agents, which those were a little bit less than the last couple of years. But still, now feeling refreshed again.
Grades are silly overall because, of course, you really got to wait a couple of years. But they want us to always do right. What's your thoughts on the draft overall?
Yeah, first I'll start with the first round pick. At first I didn't love it, but then I came around to really liking Chop Robinson. The more I looked into him and his pass rush win rate, his effects on the quarterback. Patrick Paul then in the second round. I mean, I was here on this show on Friday, and actually he was my offensive pick as a prediction. You asked for one name and one name only, and the first one I gave you was Braden Fisk.
Fence straddling here, bro. We don't fence straddle on this show. We don't allow people to fence straddle on this show.
So then I gave you an offensive pick as a bonus, and then I ended up nailing it with the tackle out of Houston, who will be a developmental piece. But right now, you have your starting tackles. You know you probably will have games where Teron Armstead will miss, but you already have that reserve veteran tackle. But then after that, if this is Teron Armstead's last year, if this is Kendall Lamb's last year, then Butch Berry can really take this guy and then give him that second season in the system, which is always key for these young offensive linemen. So I think they already saw a lot of improvement from him. His going into his senior year, how he just finished up his college career at Houston, and he's a great kid that I think will be very coachable, very energetic, very enthusiastic, and really wants to be a Dolphin. So I think he's going to really give it his all to make sure he continues to develop. And then I think they got a lot of good value picks on day 3. You end up trading into that 4th round, Jalen Wright. They get another speedy running back. So it was interesting that you go ahead and do the same, grab another one when you already are kind of loaded at that position. But now if Raheem Mostert is hampered by injury, if Devon Achane misses time, if one of those is out, then you still have 2 whenever. So you don't have to change up your offense too much. So from that standpoint, I do like it, even though if on the surface you might say, they already have that. They can do something else. They can grab an interior offensive line, but you're also into day 3 of the draft.
By the way, that was my explanation to your partner, Chris Perkins.
Right. Oh, yes.
Yeah, because he was complaining about it, and I explained to him that that's kind of, there's no more bell cows, dude.
Right, right.
It's over. And it was more about, when you get to Chris Brooks and Jeff Wilson, he has to change the offense. So last year, both those guys were banged up. Now, if you have Jalen Wright, now the offense never changes because now you have 3 guys with the exact same skill set. So I thought he's hard-headed, bro. This is I'm talking about McDaniel.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Perk, which yeah.
I'm talking about his style,
right?
Power backs, because Perk and the rest of us are, we're tuned in a different way. We want a big receiver. This guy doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about big receivers.
Yeah,
the guys drafted, the guys undrafted, they were all small too.
Right.
It's amazing. He does not give a shit what we think. And just because we think traditionally, hey, go get him a big receiver. In his eyes, the big receiver is Jonnu Smith because he's the one that can run, actually. So he got a fast tight end, and that's his big target. Outside of that, all the other receivers are all small. Even all the slot receivers he got yesterday and the last 2 days in street free agency, he does things his way, dude. And so when they did the Jalen Wright thing, this is about him having his offense for 4 quarters. That's it. That's all it is.
Right. That's clearly the running back that he likes. And I kind of figured the Dolphins would get into either the 3rd or 4th round. So I wasn't sure how it would be. I know a lot of times I was on this program and telling you, I like the trade down scenario in the 1st round. So you add a 3rd rounder that way, and then you still find some good value later in the 1st round. But they ended up doing it with the flexibility they have from the comp picks in 2025, from losing Christian Wilkins, from losing Rob Hunt in this year's free agency. You have some extra 3rd rounders. You send one to it was Philadelphia, right?
Well, they send theirs. They send theirs because they can't trade the compensatory.
Right. Yeah. You can't trade your own. Chris Greer explained to us later, which I found interesting because I thought that what the Dolphins had from the 49ers when they had the Channing Tindall draft pick, that one was a comp pick. So I still have to look back into all that, but into how the 49ers ended up with sending theirs to the Dolphins when that trade happened previously. But anyway.
Comp pick?
Well, yeah, because remember, Channing Tindall was 102 end of the
It can be done after when you're in the trade, when you're already drafting. That's when it can, but you cannot trade your compensatory pick now at this point. You have to wait till you're in the draft, and then you can make those trades. Then
so the same pick can still be switched out over later. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, late. Once when the draft rolls around at that time, when the new calendar year rolls around next year, that's when I think you can trade them. But before, you can't. You can't trade your compensatory picks because they're not officially awarded yet because they're not slotted yet. Right. So next year, once the season's done and they're slotted, then I think that's how it goes. Don't gun to head or none, but there's a point where they become free for you to trade, and I believe it's around draft time.
Yeah. So, no, I myself was still going to go back and look into all those rules to make sure for future reporting, but yeah. So right, and it would make sense because you don't have it yet. Those get announced later, so they have to go through the whole free agency, make sure they don't add another pick or add another free agent that ends up canceling out one of the ones that they are slotted to get. But the point is, they did know they had that flexibility because they know they have two coming from losing those two guys.
Right. Yeah. So, but overall, what'd you think? Because to me, I like the draft a lot. It's hard to give it a grade. I'll screw around with it, have some fun and say A-, but it made a lot of sense to me, the draft. You got a couple of pass rushers in Robinson and Kamara. You got a future offensive lineman because obviously Teron and Lamb are done next year. So now you've got Keon and Patrick opposite of Jackson. So you're planning ahead of time. Jalen Wright, again, this is your offense. This is what you want to run. Okay, I get it now. You want to run the same kind of backs? Okay, the other two are banged up. Now you got an extra one. So now you got three guys. And everybody loved this kid, Jalen Wright, dude. Like, holy shit, the reviews on him, every one of my guys loves Jalen Wright, like through the roof. Then the Malik Washington kid fits that they clearly have a hard-on to fix the slot because they went and got Malik Washington. They got the Taj Washington kid. Then they got Matthew Sexton and Jaquan Burton, the Eastern Michigan and FAU kid. So and along with Berrios, like they're going to solve that third wide receiver problem somehow or another because they overloaded at that position, not just in the draft, but then in street free agency. And then you've got Berrios on top of that. And then they love their West Coast safeties. So they went and got Patrick Mahomes. I don't know what it is, but they go out. You need a safety out west, young man. It's kind of what happens, in the Dolphin draft room. I don't know what it is, but they Vernon whatever the third is
Bro McKinley.
And then obviously Holland is what's it called?
Oregon and also Vancouver. He's from Vancouver, right? And then Oregon, and also Jordan Poyer went to Oregon State, even though he spent the last decade, in the NFL and several years in Buffalo. So that is very interesting.
It's like I don't know what the hell this is with the West Coast safety thing, but they're West Coast, not East. I don't know what. Maybe it must be those regional scouts over there.
Right.
One of those guys must be a former safety or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but Greer, Allen, and McKenzie. Either they're scouting the West or they've got a regional scout that just, I got us a safety, that kind of shit. But to me, it made a lot of sense. And even when you go into the street free agents, they went and added more offensive linemen. They went and added more defensive ends and linebackers. They really attacked. They got a safety in Jordan Colbert. They got another corner in Storm Duck, who obviously has got a great name. So what I like about what they did was they really attacked their deficiencies and they planned ahead with Patrick. So to me, that's why I like what they did. It kind of made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So if I were to give it a grade, I might go B. just a solid B. So yeah, I mean, you start off with an edge rusher, so now you are covered if Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb aren't up to snuff to start the season. So you could throw out a starting combination of him and Shaq Barrett, of Chop Robinson and Shaq Barrett, if you need to. But then once you do have Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb available, then what a rotation that is. And look at the packages. We talked about this on Friday, that you can get 3 and maybe even the 4 guys in a package, in a pass rushing package on third down. That will be vital on third down. It'll be absolutely vicious against opposing quarterbacks. So love to see that. We all had edge rusher as a position to target for the Dolphins. Even if you have one of the better starting tandems, you can never have enough. And I think Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer really understand that after the way last season ended, and how they were signing any veteran that they could off the street to play in Kansas City and play in a playoff game. So then you got your tackle of the future, so you got that covered. A running back that you like, and then those 2 slot guys, that'll be good competition. Malik Washington.
Washington boys.
Yeah. 2 slot Washingtons. I mean, they really found a lot of similarities in them, similar heights.
We love our Jalen's, we love our Washingtons, and we love our West Coast safeties. That's how we roll.
Well, we should look into the 2025 draft and make sure there's no safety out of Seattle named Jalen Washington, because that would be the ultimate, just everything, all worlds colliding, coming together. But
all we know as Dolphin fans from now on, and Dolphin media, is we must scout all West Coast safeties from here on out, and just have a list of West Coast safeties coming out of the draft, because guaranteed one of them is going to end up on the Alco and Orange roster. I don't know.
Just one of those things. But yeah, and I was looking into Malik Washington. I mean, his short area quickness is phenomenal. So, I mean, that's great for a slot receiver. And that's why he was able to get 110 receptions and lead college football at Virginia. So
they will solve that slot problem this year. Because, bro, they attacked it. They attacked it with 2 draft picks, 2 undrafted, and bringing Barrios back. Barrios must be like, shit, dude. They drafted one. They drafted another. They signed one. They signed another. Like, he must be like, holy crap, dude. I got a lot of competition. Yeah. And I like Malik. I like what I see from him as an athlete. But let me tell you something. And I know people are going to freak out on this, and they'll freak out if it does happen early on. Don't be surprised if Mohamed Kamara is the guy that is impressing earlier than Chop.
Yeah.
I say that why? Chop is still not completely he's not even close to a finished product. He's super raw. Well, Kamara, because he's undersized, he was forced to actually learn a lot faster in order to be effective. So you watch him with some of his power moves and his spin moves and the way he uses his technique, he might be a little bit more polished actually than Chop at this point in time, because when you're shorter or you have some kind of deficiency, you have to work that much harder than all the other athletes in order to overcome. So don't be surprised if this Kamara kid is incredibly intriguing, dude, because I don't give a shit what level you're at. 30.5 sacks, 45 tackles for losses. That's not a joke, dude. That's not a joke at any level. And it's not even Division II. This guy played at a half decent school. Those are some stats. So either you have a knack for the football, or I don't know, he had the luckiest career of his life. But I'm gonna go with you got a knack for the football.
Yeah. You don't get those numbers just by accident. You don't get 13 sacks last season by accident. And same school, you talk about competition, the same school that Shaq Barrett came out of. So now you get a couple of Colorado State Rams as edge rushers for the Dolphins. Yeah, he was the other guy I wanted to talk about.
Sacks in a college career.
Yeah.
It is a great career, dude.
Yeah.
That's a great career. That means you were a very effective pass rusher. And I don't know if he had 30.5 sacks, how many pressures and hits and hurries did that guy have? Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, a phenomenal burst of motor off the edge, his quickness. I mean, because he also ran his 40 in a great time. So, incredible athleticism. And also, he dipped a little bit more than he was expecting. He was, I think some were saying round 3, he could have been a day 2 pick. So, and I think he definitely viewed himself as that as well from talking to him on the Zoom after he was selected by the Dolphins in the 5th round. So he came at it. He had a quote where he was like, what was it? He was saying, all 31 other teams, watch out because I'm very, he said, I'm very excited, but I'm very, very angry that I went when I did. So now he's coming in with the chip on his shoulder. And that's part of this BPA, best player available approach once you get to this point. So maybe other teams, they were drafting by what position they wanted to target in a certain round and eliminating whoever was the best player at that point in time. Maybe that's how Jalen Wright was there in the 4th round, how Mohamed Kamara was there in that 5th round, and even a prospect like Malik Washington last into the 6th round after he led all of college football in receptions. And then you go ahead and draft those guys when maybe other teams, they look at their positions of need and restrict themselves and then bypass these players, and that's how they dip. And then you end up getting the most talented players that remain out there, even though if you're the Dolphins, we use a 1st-round pick on an edge rusher. Well, if Mo Kamara is the best player once we come around in the 5th round, then go ahead and bring him in because even if we did already address that position earlier in this draft. Jalen Wright's there, a guy that we love. Even though we do have Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane right now, bring him in because we know the offense suffers a little bit if one of our guys goes down and we need another guy that fits this offense. So drafting the guys that they targeted, that they like, their best player available at different points in the draft, and guys that fit what they want to do.
Don't forget Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. You can call them 954-966-4646. The consultation is completely free. And remember, we got hurricane season right around the corner. We're about to hit May. It starts in June, goes all the way to November. I hope we never get hit by a storm, but if it does happen, before you call the insurance companies, you need to call Welton Rayom. They have their own adjusters. 954-966-4646. If you had a car accident, bankruptcy, personal injury, call them 954-966-4646. All right, so I don't think this changes anything with Odell. Even though they added all these guys, I still think that they would add Odell if he wants to sign here at their price. What do you think now with that?
Yeah, I mean, the draft doesn't change anything from that standpoint. Maybe it would have if they went and grabbed, like, if Brian Thomas was the pick at 21 or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and specifically, if you target out, a receiver that would play more so on the outside as opposed to slot. So
Odell's not a slot guy. You don't want to put him in the slot. He's a soft player. You need a tough guy in the middle.
Yeah.
That's why they got the Malik Washington, because he looks like he's got some toughness, like and all that. Or you could play Waddle inside because he's a tough son of a bitch. And you saw it the first year when they had no choice but to play him in the slot so they could get rid of the ball quickly. So so you're with me on this. Since Odell's more of an outside guy, I think he's still in play.
Yeah, right. And even if you did draft an outside guy in the 6th and 7th round like they did the slot guys, then I wouldn't eliminate pursuits either way. So, that
would have been different.
Right. That would be different if you're drafting an outside wide receiver earlier in the draft, and then, now you got your guy there, and you got him at a lot cheaper of a rate than what Odell would cost you. But even then, Odell will have to meet the Dolphins' price too. If he wants to be here, the Dolphins aren't going to overpay. They're not going to do what the Baltimore Ravens did last year to get him for a year at $15 million, something like that. It's Chris Greer is going to be more prudent with his spending, so don't expect something like that to go down. But would be a very nice addition. And also, once that June 1 money hits, then the Dolphins will be very flush with cash to be able to make whatever move necessary.
Yeah. The Tua deal will come then. All right. What do you got going on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, just wrapping up all this draft coverage. So got everything on all these draft picks, on all the undrafted, the 12 undrafted free agents that have been confirmed, and I think that would be it for now. Because the roster is about 87 players right now, so leaving 3 available for maybe Odell, maybe some other rotational pieces, and then what else we got? Today we have interviews with Zach Sealer and Austin Jackson. So I'll be writing up on what they have to say. Zach Sealer will be interesting. Defensive tackle rotation now without Christian Wilkins, and Austin Jackson, of course, always good to check in on him as well.
All right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at DavidFaronis _ and reach out to our guys at Welton Rayom, 954-966-4646. As always, my brother, thank you. We will catch up on Friday.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Thank you.
You got it. That's our Miami Dolphins report, our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with the one and only David Faronis. We take a break.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Faronis. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
You can join us at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee. It'll be next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, May 4th. Inner Circle will be there. Stephen Marley will be there. 2 legendary.
Come early.
Yes.
Meet and greet. Say what's up. Practice up your Jamaican. We give you a class. Walk on. It's fun.
Yeah, and by the way, come early because they got great facilities. Besides the casino, you might be able to eat something, all that good stuff.
Yeah. It's a fun day. Whether you live in wherever Naples, wherever Miami, anywhere where you listen to this, come on now. Yep, we'll be waiting.
And we got the QR.
Ready or not, here we come.
Exactly. There you go. So use the QR code if you want to get tickets and join us next week. And again, Ian, I got to tell you, thank you for taking some time. I can't wait to get to the concert next week with the wife and Jam. Hopefully I'll get to meet you next week, you and your future.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped,
I'm looking forward to it, man, and I'm very honored that you were able to join us. I look forward to seeing you next week, my friend. Thank you for taking
man. Come tell him come by the blue and silver bus, man, and holler at us, man. We be on the bus.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hour number 2 of the program is on the air. Manny Navarro should be joining us any second now. So we'll have some fun. Let's see what we got here on the chat board. Psychologic, good morning. Rick Reyes. Oh, if you could sign one street free agent. I think I read that one already. I also made a nice buy this morning for the dip. I got a buy in the 61 range. Good for you, One-Eyed Jack. Guys, man, you guys, I'm so proud of you guys. You know that? It's going to be fun watching you guys celebrate with me by the end of this year. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm telling you. Why does it say it starts at 8:33 a.m.? It's that Central Time. The show originates in Miami. What do you think that means? And I think it says Tuesday show 10 a.m. on the title. The post was made at 8:33. Okay? The show starts at 10 a.m. And we're in Miami. That's Eastern. Okay? Just trying to help some of you out there, just a little bit. Los Gatos got the lightning monkey off their backs, and it was sweet, just like the Pistons did the Celtics and the Bulls did the Pistons. Yes. Just like that back in the day. Sneak Attack says, good morning, Owen Sean. These cats have been consistent the whole year. They are ready for a long playoff run and show we are contenders for the cup. I agree. I like how the Dolphins always show up to Panther games and bang the drum. Yep. Waddle was there yesterday. So I just love talking about these kind of things because it's funny, right? Because the media does these things to get at you, right? And so I'm in the car this morning and I turn on my man Joe. I love Joe. I got nothing against Joe. Joe's good. And he's there with Dave Hyde. But I just want to kind of I don't even know if Joe and Dave Hyde realize what they did. But it's fucking hilarious. And it's a double standard that is so ridiculous. Okay? Did you run into them at all? Were you in the car? Because I know sometimes you take your daughter to school and stuff like that. No? Okay. So I hear Joe come out, and I know Joe has never been a Chris Greer guy. Okay, that at least I know that for sure, right? He wasn't a Tua guy either. Now he's kind of a Tua guy because he was wrong and all that other stuff, but whatever. So I know he's not a Chris Greer guy, so he kind of still takes shots whenever he can. So here he is taking a shot. So he's like the chop mystery or something. I forgot what he called it. Chop mystery or chop something, because he doesn't have enough sacks or tackles or stuff like that, right? So because the stats aren't there. And so to justify the draft pick, right? So they're talking about that. And then 3 minutes later, now listen to me now, pay attention. 3 minutes later, after talking that Chop doesn't have the measurables and the stats, and it's weird that they would pick him that high, and that he understands people like him and all that, and all over the league they had him as a top 25, top 20 first round pick. So the Dolphins picked him, but he doesn't have those measurables, the stats. So 5 minutes later, 3 minutes later, whatever it was like shortly after, they get into a Josh Allen conversation. And you know how they follow it up? By complimenting the Bills on making that trade. Okay, when you made that trade, that guy was a 50% thrower. He didn't win anything in Wyoming. He was terrible at Wyoming. His stats were terrible. And they traded up to get him. So how do you praise one team for drafting a player on pure potential and then criticize the other team for drafting it on pure potential? Luckily, I'm not in the studio with them, because I would not have let that shit fly. And I would have fried them right there. Okay? Well, I heard that. I'm like, and I doubt most people even pick that up. All right, let's go sideways with the one and only Manny Navarro, because I'm watching him go sideways or something. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's flipping in the car or something. I don't know what's going on. Let's go. Our Canes wear Miami Hurricanes report.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
How
you doing, brother?
Good. Can't complain. It looks like the Canes had one hell of a weekend with some commits. The running back that you predicted and others.
Yeah, Damian Martinez, who's I think the number 2 running back to enter the portal at the end of last season. Quishon Junkins was the best one. He ended up at Ohio State. He's an all-SEC running back. But Damian Martinez, second team, all Pac-12, 1,100-yard rusher, really solidifies the running back position for Miami. And they've added weapons around Cam Ward. They went out, they brought in the leading receiver at Houston last year, Sam Brown, a guy who, like I said, led them receiving, played already in this offense under Shannon Dawson. So they got 2 guys on offense, and then they went out and brought in linebacker Jalen Alderman, who's a starter for Louisville, who, of course, played in the ACC championship game and beat Miami last year. Alderman started 15 games, played for Derek Nicholson, who's Miami's linebackers coach. And then they went out and got Danny Hill from Marshall, a 9-game starter, last season for the Thundering Herd, a guy who played for Miami's cornerbacks coach and played for Lance Guidry as well. So as I told you last week, as I telegraphed it or tried to telegraph it to our listeners here, that's exactly what happened. And, they're not done. They're still trying to add some defensive linemen. Kid out of Tennessee/Louisville. He ended up going to Louisville for a semester, back in the portal. Edge rusher with 6 sacks last year, Tyler Barron, and then a defensive lineman from Michigan State, Barrow, who's visiting here in the last 24 to 48 hours. So they're not done. They said goodbye to some guys that were bench guys that really weren't too productive. And, just making room, trying to get the best 85 on the roster, man. That's what Mario's trying to do.
Yeah, no, I listen, it looked like, you got some guys, and these are the guys that you could get a little excited about because they're not recruits where, they're just coming in as freshmen. These are transfers, and they're coming in to help right away. And
right.
So that's a good thing, and especially the running back, too, because knowing that your stud is still coming back from a serious foot injury, that was really nice insurance.
Yeah, and you don't want to start the season, right, with a bunch of freshmen or young guys who haven't played. Mark Fletcher is going to be the man here eventually if he can recover fully from some of the injuries that he sustained here as a freshman. They like A.J. Allen. I thought A.J. Allen flashed. Think back to that touchdown where he hurdled over the defender. I think it was against Virginia. They like those guys, but you needed a number one, especially if you're going to try to, win the conference this year and get to the college football playoff, which is what they're aiming for. So I think this was the right decision. They went out and they got Martinez, who's a hungry guy, really wants to prove himself. And let's face it, he's going to be running behind a better offensive line than he would have had if he stuck around Oregon State.
So let me ask you, what's the next step now for Mario now? Is there a lull now and we just wait for camp?
Well, there's recruiting. There's the 2025 class, so we'll be busy with that. Miami's got a bunch of people that come in here at the end of May, beginning of June, in terms of the top 2025 and 2026 kids who are all, they make these decisions earlier and earlier. All this stuff goes on, and the summer visits are really, really important because that's when you lock guys in. And for the most part, yes, guys will still flip. You'll still see that happen as coaching changes occur. But the summer is really, I think, when a lot of guys who are the top guys make their decisions and say, okay, this is who I'm locking in with. So you want to be able to score some of those dudes here in the next few months. But you're right. This is it. The guys I mentioned in the portal, those are kind of the finishing touches if you can get them. And then, it's a matter of staying healthy, being ready for August 31st, getting guys, in those off-season weight programs and ready to go for the start of the season.
All right. Good stuff there. What are you working on?
Well, I'm driving to Palm Beach County, helping out our NFL desk on a story that I can't reveal too much information on, but I am working on that. I just got off the heat, that debacle the last two games here in South Florida. I was at the arena for both of those games and did a podcast yesterday with Kevin Brockway. What's that?
My sympathies.
Oh, yeah. That to be leading all of 56 seconds over 2 games is tough to swallow. But, Spoelstra's basically throwing a mash unit out there right now, right? There's nobody really available to him and completely shorthanded and almost a mission impossible.
Bro, they had no business even win one game in this series. The fact that Spoel and company won one game is a miracle in this series. Come on.
Yeah. And I guess the bigger question for me is when I look at the Heat, it's like, well, what's their end game here? Because Jimmy's 34. There's a lot of wear on those tires. Is it Jamie Hawkwas? Is it Nikola Jovic? Is that where they're going with this? Is that the future of this team?
See,
so it'll be interesting.
You know what the problem with the Heat is right now? Is that they are their own worst enemy because they're the franchise that refuses to ever give up. Refuses to ever reset, and they're always trying to win. And the problem is, over the last few years, you keep trying to win, but you don't have the assets to acquire what you really need in order to win big.
Right.
And then you're not willing to reset the team, which is but I don't mind, dude. Go back to you and don't re-sign Jimmy. If he becomes a dick, too bad over the next 2 years. Get out of that contract, bro.
Yeah.
Try to move on from Tyler and try to get more liquid and wait a couple of years. Develop Hyman, develop Jovic. You got another draft pick this year. Develop that. All of it, and then try to develop a core and then get liquid over the next couple of years once you get Jimmy, and then you could go out and buy a star. But if you're going to try to do that same shit again this offseason, where you're just going to try to patch it up, and you don't have the resources to trade for stars, and you have to, you know, like the Lillard thing, you had to pray for him to do a James Harden, because that's really the only way he was going to force Portland and Miami. He had to be a dick. He wasn't willing to become a dick, so that's why he ends up in Milwaukee. But in the end of the day, if you're a dick, you will get your way. He was good. That's the only way they were going to get that guy. And now if you look at it, maybe he wasn't really the answer. So from them, I do a reset. But they hate that. They don't do that under Riley.
Well, I mean, that's part of the issue, right? I mean, Pat's closing in on 80, right? And that's what this is. It's we got to keep going after it. I got to deliver another championship, and I think, you know, at some point.
Ooh.
Sorry about that. Jimmy's 34. This itself out, right? And we just don't have enough assets, like you said. So we'll see if they get to that point this summer, but. You know, I like Jovic. I like
Me too.
Jamie Hawkes. I think those guys are two solid pieces. I don't know that they're that's necessarily what you build around. You probably need a lot more than that, but I think those are two good young pieces to at least have a starting point.
Yeah, and Bam. I like all of it. My problem with everybody else about Bam has been that you're forcing him into a role that he isn't. He's not a star.
Can't hear you now.
He's really the number 3
I lost
guy.
the audio.
Yeah. Oh, you don't hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Let's see if I can get it back. I lost it. Yeah. Damn phone calls killed the audio. Yeah.
Okay. Can't hear you. Got it now? You hear me?
Sorry.
Okay. No, not hearing. All right. That's it. Anyways, that's our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right. Yes, sir. Little Top Gun action. All right. Thank Manny Navarro, as always. Good dude. Oh, man. And don't forget, visit our friends at Caneswear. Okay? Very, very important. Last night, man, Panthers get a win. They eliminate the Lightning 6-1, a guy that's been here for a long time, watching a bad team grow into a great team. And, you know, we always like finding an MVP of the night. And after a 6-1 win, I think we know who our Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night is.
Who's last night's MVP? For your complete landscape solutions anywhere in South Florida, there's only one MVP. CuttersEdgePro.com. Here's our CuttersEdgePro.com MVP of the night.
Barkov, man. He had 2 goals. He had the decider, the one that was, well, not really, because the 2-1 was the decider, but the insurance goal to make it 3-1. That's when he got that 3-1, I was like, yeah, dude, this is huge. We needed this. But he had 2 goals and assists last night, and he's been there forever. And he's been one of their studs, and he's watched everything. And he's been here since they were bad.
And now maybe they could be on the brink of greatness. They got 3 more rounds to go through, but if Barkov is playing like this and Kachuk and Verhaeghe and all these guys, then and Bob, the Panthers are in pretty good shape. But I got to give Alexander Barkov, Barky, Sasha, got to give him our Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night.
The MVP of the night is brought to you by CuttersEdgePro.com. Servicing HOAs, condominiums, townhomes, commercial properties, corporate parks, and malls throughout South Florida. CuttersEdgePro.com. Providing South Florida MVP performance every day of the year.
All right. For culture, Heat in 5. Just kidding. Spo is a magician, but it's the Panthers' time. Yes, it is. Joseph Vicken is in the house. What's up, Vicken? Abraham Valdez, buenos dias from Aurora, Illinois. Big O, when I listen to you, I get hopeful for the Fin season. You're an effing realist, but you're very positive. I just pray that Ronald McDonald calls a better game. So do I. I really like what they're doing, and I haven't said that for decades. But there's a couple things, and McDaniel's definitely one of them, and injuries are the other. Let's see. What else? Frankie says, Big O, fair enough. You did say that about Barkov. Yeah, I never picked on Barkov the player. I picked on Barkov the leader. I don't think he can be your number one guy. I just don't. I think you have to. The Kachuk is just, he's the tone setter. He's just a guy, bro. Love that guy. He's exactly, that's what you needed here in this franchise. And then Verhaeghe, another guy is just a monster. Just they have clutch players. They have stars on that team. Bill's fake crowd noise. Charles Harris wasn't the same type of athlete. Chop is no, it's different. But it doesn't matter. Whatever, bro. NorCal Inner Circle, you have a smoking section reserved. Puff, give as I told NorCal, the entire place. It's an outdoor facility, so everyone will be smoking, man. Okay. Ray Sosa, Josh Allen was mediocre in college and drafted based on talent. You can't bash the Robinson pick, but give credit to the Bills for that. That's why I was laughing. I'm listening to Joe and Dave Hyde, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, guys. You're just ripping the Dolphins for taking chop on the potential. And now you're praising the Bills when they did the exact same thing. They drafted a quarterback that had no stats whatsoever that were draftable. Not completion percentage, not win percentage, not accuracy, nothing. Just he had the physical ability. Outside of that, none of his stats were worthy of being drafted in the first 4 rounds, much less the whatever he was, 7, 8, 9, 10th overall pick or whatever it was that they traded up to. That's why I was laughing my ass off. And I'm like, this is typical media bullshit or irresponsible. One of the two. I'm going to go more irresponsible because, like, you're not smart enough to figure out what you're saying. Like, you're picking on one team, and then within a minute, you're praising another for the same thing. And it's like total horseshit, dude. I get it. It's better to complain because you'll get more people and, But, yeah, I was laughing my ass off. Like, are you guys, like, are you listening to yourselves? Do you see what you're doing? And I get it. You have your own agenda against Chris Greer, so you need to try to keep backing it up because, you're hoping you're right or something one day. I don't know. Whatever it is. You're already wrong, but whatever. Big O, do you think LeBron, is he retiring? Is he leaving? Oh, he'll leave. He'll play somewhere else. He'll leave. NorCal says, who's meeting up with me in San Bernardino May 18th for SoCal Club
Picnic, brownies on me. Whoa, wow. Brownies on you. I know what kind of brownies you're going to be serving. The Nuggets are likely going to win the NBA championship again. Yes, of course. They should. They're the best team. Matthew Tkachuk is just like his father, Keith, and brother Brady is a natural leaders. Yeah. They're just natural, flat out badasses. You're right. Yep. You are 1,000% right. No doubt. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. What else do we have? Leafs Bruins tonight at 7. Why don't we do this? Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Alan Blanco, I was just there a couple days ago, 980 West 22nd Street in Hialeah. Call them 786-618-1443 if your company needs new uniforms. Maybe you need some hats, shirts, magnets, pens, whatever it is. Call the great people at 3A Graphics. Alan Blanco is a beast, man. Good people, great supporter of our program. 786-618-1443. Panthers eliminate the Lightning with a 6-1 win and a 4-1 series win. The torch has been passed. Your Panthers are now the best team in the state, and that means a lot in the state of Florida. Who would think that the Sunshine State would be the most powerful state for hockey? Pretty amazing. Anyway, they will face the winner of the Boston-Toronto series. Celtics whipped up on that Heat ass, 102-88. They take a 3-1 series lead. Game 5 on Wednesday should end the Heat season. 7:30 tip. The Marlins do Marlin things. They get swept by the Nationals in a 4-game set. They lose yesterday, 7-2. Jazz Chisholm did hit his 4th home run of the year. They're 6-24, but wait, there's more. Tonight at 6:40, with no Heat and no Panthers, you can watch another Suck series. Yeah, you watched the Suck series over the weekend between the Marlins and the Nationals. Now, this is Suck Series 2. The Rockies, who are a massive 7-21, are taking on the 6-24 Marlins. 6:40 first pitch. Ryan Feltner with that 5.89 ERA goes up against Sixto Sanchez. He might be with a 6, but his ERA is 7.2. Get ready, baby. Suck Series 2 coming your way right there at Lone Depot Park. Suck Series 2. Way to go, Fish. You smell, and so does your team. I wish the Heat had traded for Jamal Murray. I wish they would have drafted Michael Jordan. I wish they would draft everybody. LeBron James. Tim Duncan. I wish they would have won the last 8 titles. There's a lot of things I wish. Let's see. What's on the line for the Suck series? The losers bang Larsa Pippen. That's how it goes. Okay? That's all. You need the proper tunnel that's had the traffic to handle a team. Larsa Pippen is the proper tunnel that's handled that kind of traffic. So, there you go. That's what happens. Loser bangs Larsa Pippen. I'll tell you one thing, Big O. Jazz Chisholm is sure as hell popping up that trade value, something Peter Bendix will do in due time, because that's what the Marlins do, trade their best players. he is injury prone. So let's also, Isaiah, I'm not sure I would sign Jazz Chisholm to a long-term contract unless he plays like 2 full seasons for me without injuries. I don't trust Jazz Chisholm. Just like I don't trust Kristaps Porzingis. And I was wondering when he was going to get injured, and finally it happened last night. I was like, yo, that's the Kristaps Porzingis that I know. That's the big softy that I know. By the way, you've noticed how no matter how tall you are, if you get physical with Porzingis, he's a wuss, bro. You just got to get physical with him. Bother him, and it bothers his game. Little tall, skinny pole. That dude's got no balls, bro. Seriously, that guy is all finesse, man. All finesse. Soft as silly putty. I don't know how he lasted this long. I really have no idea. But yeah, that's my problem with Jazz Chisholm. He's Kristaps Porzingis. And, you know, they've only played 31 games, right? 6 and 24, 30 games. So, you know, we'll see. I personally, Isaiah, it's not that I want to see them trade good players, but Jazz Chisholm is not the guy that I'm going to be crying like, oh, you see, there you go, they trade all I don't know if I would sign him to a long-term contract. I would not at all. So if I could get a lot for him, I probably would make the trade for Jazz Chisholm. I probably would, you know. Well, they were already going to lose 100. They were already going to lose 100 games, Jeremy. That's like anybody that thought they were going to have a decent season or whatever. They started the season with a bunch of pitchers injured, and they can't score runs, and they lost people. None of it made any sense whatsoever. It really didn't. Oh, we know you're not a financial advisor, but throw a dart at the board. Your best guess for what month we see the Bitcoin pump? I think it's coming up here in May. At some point in May, we start seeing the pump. For sure. Yeah. Many things are going to send this pump besides the limitation in supply, ETFs opening up all over the world. All of that is going to be. But as economies continue to falter, as dollars continue to crumble, as banks continue to close, people will get smarter and smarter and smarter. And they will figure out my money is not good in a bank. And they will figure it out and they will put it in a Bitcoin. So all of this will go on, but it'll start to pump, and the average person will not get into it until it goes over 100,000. And then, oh my God, maybe I should get into it now. And then, then that's when the FOMO will really start. But I think we're in this next month here in May, some point it blows up. It starts to move. I really believe that because there's a lot of shit going on that's going to trigger it also. And people will figure it out. It'll just take a little time because all of us, including yours truly, we all learn the hard way. In this case, a few of us are ahead of everybody else, but normally we all learn the hard way. It's kind of the way it goes. And so in this will not be no different. People will learn the hard way. When their banks close, when they can't get their money out, when they, a friend of mine just told me they had an account there for 19 years in a bank. They were giving them a service charge. So they were making their money every month by holding your money. This is why a cold storage wallet is awesome, because you don't get charged every month by holding your money. But anyway, and then this person had to go purchase something, so they had to take the money out. So basically close the account. They charge that person an extra $100 to close the account. Banks are criminals. Let's take a quick break. Back in 2 minutes, right here on the Big O Radio Show.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hey, let's go over some of the birthdays today. Travis Scott today is 33. Kristen Dunst is 42. Gal Gadot, 39. Let's see. Johnny Galecki, 49. Who else celebrating birthdays today? Kunal Nayar is 43. Interesting. Two of the people that were in the Big Bang Theory share the same birthday. Interesting. Isaiah Thomas, 63. Cloris Leachman was born on this date in 26. We lost her in 2021. Freaking legend. Those are some of your birthdays today. And in music, let's see, who else? Steve Aiello, with 30 Seconds to Mars, was born in 1983 on this date, celebrating a birthday. Lloyd Banks, rapper with the G Unit, born in 82 on this date. Who else? Chris Henderson, guitarist with Three Doors Down, born in 71 on this date. Wonder Mike. I'm Wonder Mike. Do what you like. Michael Anthony Wright, rapper from the Sugar Hill Gang. Wonder Mike was born on this date in 57. How about that, dude? That's a blast from the past right there. I like it. Music history. Let's go with a little music history. Today, 1976, the Who's Keith Moon reportedly paid several New York taxi drivers $100 each to block either end of the side street to his hotel. The drummer then proceeded to empty his hotel room and its contents onto the empty road below. That's what a rock star does. In 88, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon dropped out of the Billboard 200 for the first time in 725 weeks, but it would later return to the charts. In 2008, a giant inflatable pig that floated away during Roger Waters' Coachella set was recovered in tatters in California. The two families who found it, what was left, they were given a reward of $10,000 and 4 lifetime tickets to the Coachella Festival. Not bad. In 91, Nirvana signed a recording contract with Geffen's DGC label for $290,000. Sounds like a bargain to me. That's what happened today in music history. By the way, Powerball winner. The Powerball now will be worth an estimated $178 million after no one matched all 6 numbers on Monday's drawing. The numbers were 11, 38, 47, 67, 69, and the Powerball number was 14. And in the I am wrong department, Travis Kelce is getting a raise. He has signed a 2-year extension with the Chiefs. The extension is for $34.25 million. It's attached to his existing contract. The new one makes him the highest paid tight end in the NFL and ties Kelce to Kansas City through 2027. And I thought he was getting human and the whole Taylor Swift thing, and that he was gone after this past season. And they won the title and everything, but no dice. Not even one more year. Nope. 3 more years for Travis Kelce. So he's going to leave in a few seasons. That is amazing. So I guess Taylor Swift going to way more Chiefs games. Good for the NFL, good for ratings for the NFL, but he is 34. Just saying. That's kind of risky. Jason Kelce is getting a new job. The former Eagles center will be joining ESPN to be a part of its Monday Night Countdown pregame show for the 2024 season. How about that? He's got the personality, so you kind of knew it. And Travis obviously is doing a game show too. The Super Bowl 52 champion retired in March after spending his entire 13-year career in Philadelphia. The Athletic reported in March that ESPN was one of the frontrunners to land Kelce's first post-playing career role. So there you go. So he'll join Scott Van Pelt, Marcus Spears, and Ryan Clark are part of the countdown team. Apparently, Robert Griffin III is not coming back. I think he actually does a pretty good job, Robert Griffin III. I like him, actually. I think he does a good job, dude, overall. Anyway, remember you can make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. Let's see. Big Nick says, Big O, do you keep tabs of Dolphin fans who really hate the team when celebration time comes? No, I don't. Don't really care. You know what I mean? I might remember, people that are negative, like a Cap for Life is who's I see a couple there. He's normally negative. Troy Ortiz is normally negative. There are people that are enough on the chat board that it sticks in my mind, and I remember that they're constantly living in that negative mode, so I can have fun with them. But that's about it. That's not. I'm not really keeping track. I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? I don't really take, a lot of fans serious, to be quite honest, because there's a lot of you out there that you really don't know what the hell you're watching. So, I know there's a certain section of you that are actually like intelligent and you kind of figure things out, but there's a section of you that's really, really off. So, that's kind of where I can't live in that. I'm not living in that area. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to search for negativity. It'll come to me, unfortunately. The Marlins, it's coming to me. You know what I mean? I can't do anything about it. That's automatic. The Heat are, the end of the road is coming. I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. Now I'll be able to talk about that. But to spin something no, dude. This is a team that's made the playoffs the last 2 years. And that's not normal for the Dolphins to make the playoffs 2 years in a row. And they have a chance to make it 3 years in a row. I just want to make it on a healthier note at the end of the year to see maybe the results will be a little better. you know? So I'm going to stay in the positive. I like this front office a lot. I think this team is talent-wise is the best we've had in decades. The coach needs to grow up, but his offensive mind is easily one of the best in the NFL, one of the 3 or 5 best. He just has to learn how to be a great game day coach. So I'm not that guy, dude. You know? I'm not going to sit here and think negative shit for the Panthers and negative shit for the Dolphins and negative shit for Inter. And, you know, for Inter, as much as I like them, I'll tell you, yeah, I'm worried about their defense. You know, I'll talk about what's going on, but just to like kind of invent shit. Yeah. No. Like, listen to Joe and Dave Hyde. That's inventing shit. You want to complain about Chop and not having the stats worthy of the draft pick, and like right away you're praising the Bills for the trade for Josh Allen when they did exactly the same thing. You know, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It's not my style. So, you know, I can't do anything about it. The Marlins need a new owner, deep pockets. Yeah, well, but that's MLB. MLB screws us. Surprised Hateful Steve didn't complain about the draft. Yeah, I'm surprised. He'll have some Tua complaint or something. You know, they'll sign a street free agent quarterback and he'll say that he'll take over for Tua or something. We can count on Hateful Steve to bring in some hateful stuff soon. You know, it's one of those things. It's kind of like death taxes and Hateful Steve comments. It all happens. It happens. We thank David Furones, Manny Navarro, and of course the man, the myth, the legend that is Sean Stanley. Short show today. Not really a lot to talk about. We appreciate all of you out there as always for tuning in. If you send in a super chat, however it is that you support us, remember you can also support us Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We'll be at Caneswear in Davie. See you all tomorrow. Be good.